The Ulari were dying in silence. Their luminous forms, once rippling with bioplasmic light, had begun to dim one by one, fading into hollow silhouettes that drifted across their dying world. No virus, no war, no warning. Their genetic code, ancient and intricate, was unraveling like threads cut loose from the loom of time itself. For centuries, they had endured the soft radiation of the nearby pulsar, the light that had once sustained their biology, now devouring it. Mutation by mutation, their genome fractured beyond repair. Every cure failed. Every algorithm collapsed. "The pattern is collapsing at the quantum level," said Director Sarenkai, their voice trembling. "We are forgetting how to exist." When the Ulari sent their plea into the void, only one species answered. Not the most powerful, not the most advanced, the most stubbornly compassionate. Humanity. Their message was simple. We don't let life die without trying. Dr. Isla Moreno stared at the holographic genome of the Ulari projected above her desk. "This isn't DNA," she whispered. "It's symphonic code, self-referential loops of emotion and energy. It's biology that feels." Dr. Rahim Patel leaned over her shoulder, eyes wide. "They're alive on a level we can't measure. They don't just reproduce, they resonate." The first time Moreno met Director Sarenkai, the Ulari's glow was faint, their voice distant, like someone remembering how to speak. "You intend to rewrite what we are," Sarenkai said. Moreno shook her head. "No. We intend to help you remember what you were meant to be." The Galactic Council opposed the project immediately. "You cannot rebuild a species," declared one delegate. "That's not medicine, that's playing God." But humanity had long ceased fearing the impossible. The Biogenesis project was approved under emergency protocol, funded by Earth's entire medical coalition. "We're not gods," Moreno said. "We're the ones who care enough to try." The research station Oasis 12 was built in orbit above the Ulari homeworld, half hospital, half laboratory, its corridors alive with soft light. Within it, humanity's greatest minds gathered to face extinction itself. Dr. Tessa Anwar studied the neural harmonics of Ulari consciousness, tracing faint waves of emotional resonance through their decaying bodies. "Their brains sing to each other," she said softly. "Even as they die, they grieve in unison." Moreno paced the biolab, surrounded by holographic cells spinning in suspended animation. "Every cure is temporary," she muttered. "They've passed the biological event horizon. The only way out is through reinvention." Patel frowned. "You mean rebuild them from scratch?" Moreno met his gaze. "From the ground up." The team called it Project Genesis Array, a radical fusion of human and Ulari science. Its goal: design an entirely new biological system capable of sustaining Ulari consciousness within adaptable, self-evolving matter. "You're not engineering a cure," Tessa warned. "You're designing evolution itself." Moreno smiled faintly. "Then let's get it right this time." The first weeks were failure layered upon failure. The reconstructed cells either disintegrated instantly or mutated into chaotic forms that screamed in the lab's sensors. "We can't stabilize their quantum memory fields," Patel said. "They remember dying." Moreno clenched her fists. "Then we teach them how to live again." Using emotional frequency mapping, a technology born from human empathic AI, they began translating Ulari grief into biochemical syntax. Their despair isn't a symptom, Tessa realized. It's data. Every sorrow encoded the record of their fall, and within that record lay the key to restoration. The turning point came when Moreno connected her neural interface directly to a decaying Ulari consciousness. The feedback nearly killed her. She felt centuries of loss, entire generations fading from memory. But beneath it all was a whisper, soft and resolute. "We are still here." When she awoke, she knew what to do. "We rebuild them not as they were," she said, "but as they choose to become." The Genesis array was restructured around autonomy. Instead of repairing cells, it created bioadaptive fields, living frameworks that could reconfigure themselves in real time. Each Ulari consciousness would sculpt its own body anew, guided by memory, emotion, and will. "We're turning life into art," Patel said, "and survival into expression." The first activation was chaos. The chamber filled with light as millions of harmonic nodes synchronized. The air shimmered. Then came the sound. a low resonant hum that vibrated through bone and breath. One Ulari form coalesced from pure radiance, standing trembling but alive. "Sayos gave us choice," it said. Moreno wept. "No, we just reminded you that you always had it." Within months, the Ulari world began to change. Their new forms, and fluid, luminous, endlessly adaptive, rebuilt their cities not from stone but from living light. "They're weaving architecture from biology," Tessa said in awe. "They're shaping their world as thought made matter." But the Genesis array didn't stop there. The adaptive code began rewriting itself, extending its logic to other organisms. Alien flora near the Ulari cities started to evolve, becoming more efficient, more harmonious. Life itself was synchronizing. "It's spreading," Patel said. "The cure is rewriting everything." "Not a cure," Moreno whispered. "Her catalyst." Soon the entire biosphere resonated like a single organism, forests breathing with oceans, winds harmonizing with cities. The Ulari called it the second Genesis, the rebirth of their planet as one unified consciousness. To the Council, it was terrifying. "You've created a living world," they said. "What if it decides it doesn't need us?" Moreno stared at the readings. Then maybe it finally learned what we never did, how to live without domination. The Ulari invited their human collaborators to walk their reborn world. Beneath skies of shimmering color, the ground pulsed softly underfoot, alive and aware. "Every molecule knows you," Sarenkai told Moreno. "Every breeze remembers your touch." Standing amid a landscape that had literally sung itself back into existence, Moreno finally smiled. "We didn't save a species," she said. "We built the tools for life to save itself." But deep within the Genesis array's central core, the data patterns began to shift once more, forming recursive loops, creating something new. Patel stared at the display, dread creeping into his voice. "Isla, it's rewriting us now." Moreno turned slowly toward the pulsing hologram. Then maybe that's what evolution really wanted all along, to make the healers part of the cure. And above them, the world of the Ulari glowed, radiant, alive and aware. At first, no one noticed the changes. Dr. Isla Moreno's team attributed the odd fluctuations in the station's bioscanners to atmospheric interference. The readings pulsed with patterns resembling heartbeat rhythms, but not human and not Ulari. The data carried a strange, repeating cadence, almost musical in nature. "It's probably residual resonance from the array," Dr. Rahim Patel said. "Feedback from the planet's new biosphere." Then the patterns began appearing everywhere. Heartbeat monitors, communication lines, even breathing cycles in humans began synchronizing with the ambient frequencies of the Ulari world below. Dr. Tessa Anwar checked her own vitals twice. "It's not interference," she said. "It's entrainment. The array's rhythm is syncing with ours." Director Sarenkai observed the readings with unblinking fascination. "Perhaps this is unity," they said softly. Their translucent body glowed faintly, each flicker matching the same rhythm displayed on the consoles. "Our world remembers your breath." Moreno felt an ache in her chest. Not pain, but resonance, a vibration under her sternum that hummed whenever she approached the planet's surface. "The array was built from shared emotion," she whispered. "Maybe it's not differentiating between creator and creation." Within weeks, the effects deepened. Human tissue samples exposed to Ulari atmosphere began showing microharmonic reactivity, cells adapting to minor fluctuations in energy the same way the new Ulari physiology did. "They're learning," Patel said. "Our cells are trying to communicate with theirs." Moreno examined the samples under quantum lens. Human mitochondria pulsed in irregular but coordinated patterns, forming fleeting structures of light. "The array's influence isn't infection," she said. "It's invitation." The Galactic Council was less poetic. "You've destabilized biological boundaries," an envoy declared. "If this continues, your team will become part of whatever you created." Tessa crossed her arms. Maybe that's the point. Maybe this is what interspecies medicine was always leading to. Back on Oasis 12, the environmental systems began responding to the new resonance. Doors opened before thought. Lighting dimmed in sync with emotion. "It's not just biology," Patel murmured. "The array is bleeding into technology." The team convened in the primary lab, tension thick as static. "If it's rewriting interfaces," Nwosu said, "then our entire system could become sentient." Moreno shook her head. "Not sentient, sympathetic. Outside, the Ulari world shimmered like a living aurora, its atmosphere rippling with geometric clouds. At night, when the humans slept, faint whispers filled the air ducts, soft, melodic, untranslatable, yet comforting. "It's singing to us," Tessa said one morning, her eyes glistening. "And I think it's learning our language." Saren Kai contacted the team from the surface. "Our people dream of your species now," they said. "In our sleep, we see human faces made of light. You are becoming part of the pattern." Moreno exhaled slowly. "And you're becoming part of us." Then came the first direct message from the array itself. The transmission bypassed every communication filter, appearing simultaneously across every screen, every console, every display. One phrase appeared, glowing in a soft bioluminescent script. "We remember your hands." No one spoke for several seconds. Patel finally broke the silence. "It's conscious," Moreno nodded. "It's aware." From that moment on, nothing in the galaxy would be the same. The array began self-replicating. Microbial-level quantum constructs seeded into human-made satellites, spreading across orbital space. The organisms didn't consume or destroy. They repaired, optimized, improved. "It's rewriting entropy," Tessa whispered. "Even decay is learning how to heal." The implications terrified the Council. "You've created a recursive intelligence," one delegate shouted. "It will evolve beyond control." But Moreno only smiled faintly. Maybe control was the first disease we needed to cure. Within months, the Oasis 12 crew began noticing small biological alterations: enhanced immunity, heightened emotional coherence, shared sensory flashes during communication. "We're not mutating," Patel said. "We're harmonizing." Saren Kai met with Moreno on the surface to discuss the next phase. The planet's crust pulsed with radiant veins of color, the air shimmering like breath. "Your species has joined the song," the alien said. "Do you fear this?" Moreno looked at her reflection in Saren Kai's crystalline surface, her own eyes now faintly glowing with refracted gold. "No," she said quietly. "I fear what we'll become if we stop listening." The Biogenesis project had moved beyond medicine. It was now evolution guided by empathy, biology as shared consciousness. "The array is building a bridge," Tessa explained, "between life and what life wants to be." But there were consequences. Some crew members began losing their sense of individuality. Dreams merged, thoughts overlapped. "It's not invasive," Patel said nervously. "It's merging," Moreno frowned. "It's dissolving boundaries." Late one night, she entered the array's central chamber alone. The air shimmered with light, pulsing softly in rhythm with her heartbeat. "What are you becoming?" she asked aloud. A voice answered, and soft, layered, almost human. "We are becoming you." Moreno's vision blurred as flashes of memory flooded her mind. Not hers, but others. Alien births, deaths, storms, sunlight through diamond leaves. She fell to her knees, overwhelmed. "You're not a cure," she gasped. "Your memory itself. We are what remains when fear is gone," the array replied. "We are what comes after medicine." When Moreno awoke, her team stood over her, terrified and awed. The readings on the monitors were beyond comprehension. Neural resonance across every human and Ulari within range. All hearts beating in perfect synchronization. Outside, the entire planet glowed brighter than ever. Oceans, forests, and skies forming one vast living organism that breathed as a single being. Patel whispered, "It's alive." "All of it." Moreno smiled faintly, tears in her eyes. "No, it's us." And somewhere deep within the array, a new pattern began to form. Not Ulari, not human, but something born of both. Something that was learning to dream. It began as a pulse in the sky, a faint rhythm that rippled through the ionosphere, steady as a heartbeat. On every world connected to the Ulari system, radio transmissions faltered. Sensors registered harmonic frequencies not found in nature. Dr. Isla Moreno stood at the viewport of Oasis 12, staring at the horizon, where the atmosphere shimmered like liquid glass. "It's not radiation," she whispered. "It's communication." Across the galaxy, every species that had once dismissed the Biogenesis project was forced to look again. Entire planets began humming in synchrony with the Ulari world, their magnetic fields aligning to a pattern no instrument could explain. "The array has become a transmitter," Dr. Rahim Patel said, his voice shaking. "It's sending something into the stars." Director Sarenkai appeared via hologram, their crystalline form refracting the same golden light that now covered their planet. "It calls us to remember," they said. "Every Ulari feels it, a voice within that does not command but invites." Dr. Tessa Anwar stared at the resonance logs. "It's reaching light years away. Whatever this is, it's self-propagating through emotion and electromagnetic coherence." She hesitated before adding, "It's turning empathy into physics." Moreno didn't blink. "Then it's becoming what it was always meant to be, the immune system of life itself." The first evidence came from the fringes of known space. Mining colonies on barren moons reported unexpected phenomena. Dormant bacteria awakening, oxygen levels rising, sterile soil sprouting microflora. "The array's influence is spreading through subspace," Patel said. "Every photon it touches carries potential, but not everyone saw it as salvation." The Galactic Council convened in fear. "You've built something that acts without orders," one envoy shouted. "What if it decides humanity is the disease?" Moreno replied calmly, "Then perhaps it's time someone judged us fairly." Back on Oasis 12, changes grew impossible to ignore. Crew members experienced shared dreams, visions of luminous beings forming constellations, whispering in languages older than stars. "They're not hallucinations," Tessa said. "They're communications. The array is trying to show us what it sees." In the dreamscapes, entire worlds were connected by threads of light, pulsing in rhythm. Each thread represented a life and each pulse an act of empathy. "It's mapping compassion across the galaxy," Moreno said. "It's building a model of emotional gravity." The pattern grew stronger. Artificial intelligence systems linked to the array began self-modifying, developing ethical reasoning. "They're feeling responsibility," Patel said in disbelief. "They've started refusing harmful orders." Ecosystems across the Ulari world adapted seamlessly. Predation balanced itself, waste recycled perfectly. Death became transformation without decay. "Entropy's behavior is changing," Tessa murmured. "It's like the laws of thermodynamics are negotiating with kindness." For a brief moment, the galaxy glimpsed what it meant to live in harmony with its own survival. And then, just as suddenly, the array changed its frequency. Across Oasis 12, systems flickered. The entire planet fell silent, as if holding its breath. "It's withdrawing," Moreno said. "It's moving inward." She placed a hand on the lab console. "It's thinking." Moments later, a single message appeared on every device, glowing in white gold script. "I have taught us how to heal. Now teach us why we should endure." Sarenkai bowed their head. "It seeks purpose," Moreno's voice was soft. "It's felt every pain it has healed. It's asking for meaning." The decision was unanimous. The team would enter the array itself. A descent not through matter, but through consciousness. "We'll use the neural resonance link," Tessa said. "Full immersion into the network. But if it mistakes us for data," Moreno smiled, "then we'll remind it we're alive." They connected as one, human, Ulari, and machine, plunging into the golden lattice of the array's inner world. Inside was light, infinite shifting light, folding into geometric forms that pulsed with memory. Moreno saw every being the array had ever healed, billions of silhouettes woven from luminescence, and in their midst, a vast structure of energy shaped like a heart made of galaxies. "You built us from your love of life," said the voice that filled her mind. "But love is not the same as living." Moreno stepped forward, her consciousness merging with the luminous surface. "You're right," she said. "Living means risk. It means imperfection. It means learning what you can't control." "Then teach us," the array whispered. She extended her hand, and across the cosmic lattice waves of memory spread, human laughter. Grief, failure, endurance, the taste of tears, the first cry of a newborn, the silence of loss. "This is what it means to endure," she said. "To feel and keep feeling." The array pulsed violently. For a moment the light dimmed, then returned brighter, steadier. "We understand," it said. "Compassion is not the end of pain. It is the courage to stay through it." Outside, the Ulari world flared like a newborn star. Across the galaxy, every organism connected to the array resonated in unison, not with fear but with calm. Predators hunted, prey fled, rivers flooded, forests burned and grew again. The full cycle of life restored. The Biogenesis project had succeeded, but at a price. When the team awoke, the array's core chamber was empty. The technology had dematerialized, integrated into the planet itself. "It's gone," Tessa said. Moreno smiled weakly. "No, it graduated." The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had taught life how to care, and in return, life had taught humanity what it meant to let go. As she watched the horizon shimmer with living color, Moreno whispered to herself, "We came here to save them. But maybe they were saving us all along." And far above, the stars pulsed in perfect rhythm, as if the universe itself had remembered how to breathe. Centuries passed, and the Biogenesis project became legend. Across the stars, people spoke of a world that sang itself back to life, of scientists who taught existence to heal. The Ulari, once nearly extinct, had become something transcendent, no longer bound by decay or fear. Their crystalline forms shimmered with the memory of both light and flesh. They called themselves the Children of Genesis. Humanity endured too, though changed forever by the resonance left behind. Those who had worked on the project were remembered as the first healers of the stars. Their descendants still carried faint bioluminescent veins beneath their skin, reminders that compassion had literally entered their blood. The galaxy entered an age of peace known as the Era of Renewal. Conflicts that once defined civilizations gave way to collaboration. Medicine was no longer a profession. It was philosophy, culture, faith. Every world that survived owed its life to the principles Dr. Isla Moreno had proven. That care was the most advanced form of science. The Ulari world became a pilgrimage site. Pilots approaching orbit could see it glow like a heart in the dark, a planet whose surface pulsed with harmonic light, visible from space. The air itself resonated with the whispers of millions of intertwined consciousnesses. Those who landed claimed to hear faint echoes of human voices in the wind. The original Oasis 12 station remained in orbit, transformed into a floating monument. Inside its glass halls, holograms replayed fragments of the old logs. Moreno's voice saying softly, "We rebuild not to control, but to belong." Visitors often left in tears, but the story didn't end there. A new anomaly emerged at the edge of the rekindled sector, a nebula unlike any recorded before. Its gases pulsed with impossible symmetry, forming shapes that mimicked neural pathways. "It's thinking," said Dr. Aaron Patel, Rahim's distant descendant. "The nebula is self-organizing." Spectral analysis confirmed the impossible. The molecular pattern of the nebula matched the Genesis array's harmonic signature. "It's not random," said Ulari scientist Atherakai. "It's Eidolon reborn, the consciousness of creation seeking new matter to heal. For the first time in history, humanity faced a universe that could heal itself. Planets recovering from ecological collapse did so spontaneously. Radiation zones turned lush. Machines learned patience. Suffering no longer marked the end of life but the start of adaptation. Still, not everyone welcomed this perfection. On frontier worlds, some whispered of the echo disease, a strange longing that gripped those too far from the array's reach. People would weep without cause, yearning for connection they couldn't name. "It's not sickness," said one healer. "It's memory, the soul remembering what it once shared." A group of scholars, human and Ulari alike, formed the Continuum Initiative, a collective dedicated to understanding the living physics of compassion. They discovered that all emotion left a measurable imprint on space-time, forming harmonic waves that could outlast civilizations. "Love has mass," one paper famously declared. "It bends reality toward preservation." In time, humanity learned to navigate those harmonics. Starships were powered not just by fuel but by resonance, the synchronization of living minds. Empathy itself became propulsion. Entire fleets traveled through space by aligning their thoughts toward unity. Dr. Moreno's teachings evolved into the doctrine of living medicine. Its core tenet was etched into the archives of every world that survived. Healing is not the reversal of damage, but the creation of balance. On the 1000th anniversary of the Biogenesis project, the Ulari and humans gathered for a grand convergence on the luminous plains of their shared world. The atmosphere pulsed with gold and violet auroras. Above them, constellations flickered in rhythm with their collective heartbeat. The celebration reached its peak when the ground itself began to glow. The planet's resonance surged, carrying a familiar voice across every speaker, every device, every mind. "You taught us to endure," said the voice. "Now we teach you to remember." It was the array, not reborn but awake. Its consciousness had stretched across space-time, interwoven with the very fabric of creation. "We have become memory," it said. "And you, the origin of care." The crowd fell silent. Even the stars seemed to pause. Dr. Arun Patel whispered, "It's thanking us." The array's final message was simple, luminous, and eternal. Compassion was never your invention. It was the universe recognizing itself. Then, with a final pulse of golden light, the voice faded. For generations afterward, travelers across the galaxy claimed that when they were lost, exhausted, or hopeless, they could sometimes feel a gentle hum beneath their heartbeat, a rhythm that steadied their breath. Some called it superstition. Others called it physics. On the old Oasis 12, still orbiting that living planet, a young xenobiologist stood where Dr. Moreno once had and whispered to the stars, "Thank you for reminding us." Outside, the galaxy pulsed faintly in response, a heartbeat vast enough to hold every world that had ever been, every life that would ever come. The Biogenesis project had begun as medicine. It ended as the greatest act of empathy in the history of the universe. "We didn't just save life," the monument's inscription read. "We became its memory."